A hectic WWDC uniting all the different operating systems, or most of them, with new visual languages and a bunch of stuff. Actually, that was 2-3 days ago. It wasn't just now. My original idea, my original intent was to give my very quick reaction straight away, right afterwards, and then come back and then do a couple brain streams with the notes that I've written down. Unfortunately, I didn't have a second to think, so this is going to be 2-3 days later, and I've also watched a few other reviews and other people's thoughts, so some of those are a little bit in here. It's not my own raw thoughts without any influence, but I do want to touch upon it, and I still will be following up because I have lots of thoughts about it, even though they've dulled a little bit because it's about a couple days ago. Today's already Tuesday, today's Thursday, and that was on Monday. But I just want to give you my thoughts. This is a brain stream, so first of all my thoughts jumbled. There's tons of things around here and there. So for all of you who give me their feedback that is not like one consistent script, like that's the point of this brain stream, is just to bring out whatever is in my brain. But I will give you the ending. I do think, as a TLDR, I'm just excited to see what Apple comes out with. I might not think that it's the most visionary release, and I might not be totally satisfied and would have loved to see some more things. But at the end of the day, Apple, at least going back a few decades, has been pretty good about, first of all, not even giving us something really polished, but like waiting and drilling deep into something, not just because of the aesthetics or not just because of like, this is the new gimmick. They usually kind of wait, they bide their time, and then they bring something that moves the industry. So yes, after watching WWDC and knowing that we just had, Google had their I.O. just a few weeks ago, and a few other events, it is a little bit disappointing to not have all these crazy AI features coming out. Now that's one of two ways. Most people are saying that this is because they're just not there yet, they're not capable of it. Other people are saying that this is just how Apple does it. They wait until everyone throws things, to the wall, see what sticks, and then they come out and they polish it and they say this is the direction. But the argument on the first one this year, at least, is that everything's going so fast that like you can't really wait a year. I hear both those arguments. I mean, I've been waiting for augmented reality for nearly 15 years now, and we're still not there yet. But AI has definitely been moving at a really crazy pace. We'll get to things that I wanted to see in the next one. I've got notes on all the different OSs. But just bring this idea of like liquid glass. I don't think it's... Some of it does look like a gimmick to me. I've had a few laughs of the memes that have gone around to showcase sometimes the readability, the accessibility, and some other issues. I'm sure those are going to get ironed out if you watch any of the developer videos or the classes they've given afterwards. There's obviously ways that they deal with these kind of things, and I think when people are seeing screenshots or they're trying it out on the beta that they get, they don't realize that they've just released the first beta, they've just downloaded the first beta. So just because you can't read the notes in the words, my words are all over the place. Just because you can't read notifications well, doesn't mean it's going to be like that. Obviously that will be fixed up. That's not something that's just happening in your beta. And there are a few other things like buttons. It was harder to tell what button is actually selected versus not. But the whole concept, anyone who's dealt with augmented reality or spatial computing or any of these areas are saying like, we understand what Apple's doing. They're building for a world where it's not just interfaces on a black screen. It's not just the 2D world where your pixels on a black background and you're shining forth. You're coming into the real world. Once you come into the real world, the way light works is differently. You can't just blast light into your face. This is synthetic light. This is not how light works in the real world. It's going to be scattered. There's going to be lots of opacity. You're going to be dealing with sunlight. You're going to be dealing with outdoors. The way that interfaces work is no longer your eyes. it's not going to be your eyes staring at glowing pixels that are synthetic light that are going to be blasted into your eyes. The way that you're seeing content, the technologies behind them, the whole point, the whole concept of pixels is going to be very different, because you're going to be looking through, you're going to be having images projected into your retinas and working in a very different way. You're going to be using sunlight, things like that. Therefore, you're not going to be having pixels on a black background. You're actually going to be using a lot more transparency. Things like these make more sense. Also, just the whole idea of physicality, the idea that your computer is, you have that concept of the computer wanting to be a thin slab of glass, which is Johnny Ive's vision, whether or not they still believe in that at Apple now that he's gone or not. But when you move into the spatial world, you're dealing with very, very different things. You're dealing with a magical experience, because you don't have the 2D flat screen that you have today. You have multiple screen sizes, unlimited. But also you have context over there and the way things work, when information should come up. But then you've got this whole other idea of the entire paradigm of computing is changing. The idea that we've had up until now is that computers have been tools. Applications have been tools, helping us to get jobs done. And you learn those tools, you pick the application that helps you get the job done, and you move along. There's a concept that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. It's an idea that I've been working on for over a decade now. I've been ideating and conceptualizing for over a decade, and now I'm actually putting the pieces together to really bring it to life, is looking at this post-app world. And part of that is not just the idea, and why post-app? Apps are intentionally designed by by companies that are trying to solve for certain issues. They've got their solutions, and then ultimately you end up having multiple applications or multiple companies that are doing very similar things, and you have to learn each tool until the next tool comes out that's only a tiny bit different, but because of those one or two features, you're going to move to that new tool. Now you're going to have to learn a whole new interface. You're going to have to learn all new features. Hopefully not a whole new design language if you're in an operating system that is very consistent and done very well. But even these AI tools that are coming out now are not the post-app world, because they still are. They're very complex tools and they're very advanced tools, but they're still just that. They're tools that you still have to mold yourself into the way that they work. Post-app world is the understanding that we're moving to a world where the way that we work is differently. The tools that we're using are no longer tools. These agents, these AIs are now, these intelligences, while I don't want to treat them as a human, they do have a certain level of intelligence and reasoning and conceptualizing, and also the way that they create is very, very different than the ways that we create today. Even when you're using very advanced AIs that could do great coding, things like that, they're still kind of tools. We're moving into this world where, we are no longer going to be the slave. And in this computer dynamic, we're kind of the slaves and the computer's the masters, and I mean that in a way that we have to learn their operating system, we have to learn the applications, we have to learn the toolbar, we have to sit down in a place where there's battery. We're moving into this world where that's going to flip, and it's going to go back to where in the pilot seat we're getting things done, and the AI, the agents, are going to be that co-pilot. It's going to be that executive assistant that understands, that knows what you want to do, that has your context, and it goes and gets it done before you even ask it intentionally, and then when you come around to it, it's already kind of done, and then you're putting together those last little tasks. It's a lot more complicated than that, but to bring it back to WWDC, this whole look is moving. Again, this is where the stream of thought is a bit different. This is one of the parts actually that I'm a little bit disappointed about what's happening here. I like the direction, and they're looking a lot more beyond, and all these ideas, all these jokes about Windows Vista and things like that. Look at Apple's operating system before. You had frosted glass. This whole concept of glass has been something that has always been very sci-fi and things. Anyone that wants to put on an ad has used this concept. Apple's just gone ahead and really taking it to the next level. Still, a lot of it looks like a gimmick to me, but I kind of have trust a little bit that I'm hoping that there's a lot more thought behind it, and it's very well done, that it doesn't just stick in the gimmick, and that it has a lot more practical purposes. But that's only because of what I've seen and what I hope with Apple. But I do have my doubts, and also a bit worried that they didn't go in a certain direction, but I will continue that in a new brain stream. See you in the future.